All right, welcome to another episode of Gin and Truth. I'm the captain of this ship, Robert motherfucking Reed. Got a tumble full of hindrance and mindful thoughts. Let's go. All right, gang, let's jump into this shit. Gang, the meat of today's rotted sandwich is apparently black folk don't do atheism. Now, I can hear my dryer. You guys go fuck yourselves. Gang, the reason why I'm doing this video, other than what I think is obvious, this video is about as old as my travels with being an atheist. So it literally happened, for lack of a better term, overnight. I told you, my best friend gave me kind of the Christopher Hitchens challenge. I fucking failed. I said, fuck this shit, literally the next day. And so after that, I was like, I wasn't sure if I was an atheist. I just knew I didn't believe in God anymore. So, of course, we got the internet now. So my monkey ass is over here, just 21 shows, bitches. Searching for anything and everything. Just I wanted to absorb some knowledge, see what was up. Is this really who I am? And well, yeah. And I ran across a video, over a decade ago, and it was entitled "Black Folks Don't Do Atheism." Now, this is a series, and it's Black Folks Don't Do, then ... And one of the ones, and it's funny because it just hit me right now as I'm talking about it. One of them is Black people don't do mental health. Now, I'm 52, Southern made Negro. And just when you kind of put down the things that are kind of stereotypically Black, religion's on that list. And it was a foregone conclusion. Now, have there always been Black atheists? Yeah. But when you really think about your stereotypical, porch revival, porch baptism, you think about the Black service and the ladies in all white, the tambourines and the sweaty Black pastor and all. I grew up with that. And it's very stereotypical. And so, yeah, it's always been around, but it was never an option, if that makes any sense. And it was just kind of like Black folks don't do mental health. Now, of course, I'm just going to keep it real. So if you're at or around my age and you have about as much pigment as I do and you're from the South, there was no mental illness. Mental illness has always been around. There's always been bipolar mood disorder. There's always been schizophrenia, ADD, ADHD, you name the mental illness, it's always been around. We might not have words for it, but it's always been around. But it definitely wasn't in the Black community, right? Because again, let's keep it 100% real. Fuck around and tell your mom, if you look like me in 1981, Mom, I think I'm depressed. What would your parents tell you? Those are white people problems. Gone with that bullshit. And some of you are like, what kind of bullshit is that? Well, by today's standards, yeah, you would call it bullshit. You got to understand something. The Black folks that raised my generation, they were born in the late 30s, in the early to mid 40s. Those motherfuckers were Spartans. You were worried about something way bigger than ADD, like not being lynched, beaten, right? And so you're just like, we don't have time for mental illness. We don't. And you just don't walk that off when you have a child in 1972 or something, right? That's still in you. So you're still so much in survival mode that when something real pops up, but you can't put your finger on it, like, Mom, take a look, right? In your hands turned on backwards. They can see that, they rush you. They're not going to tell you to walk that off. Well, maybe my parents would. But with like mental illness, you don't see it. You can't put a finger on it. You can't X-ray or MRI. Yeah, so those are white people problems. Gone with that bullshit. Okay, my point is that was like religion, right? There was no such thing as a Black atheist. No such thing. And again, I told you, this whole talking about atheism and church services and shit like that, that's new. I never even heard of the word atheist literally till maybe the late 90s, the early 2s. I'm not bullshitting. It non-belief was not an option. You understand that? It literally was not an option. And again, if you did, like, I don't think I believe. Oh, go fuck yourself. Good times. You guys remember that episode? Right, some are like, good times. Yeah, good times. Anytime you need a band, anytime you need a friend. Good times. Anytime you're out from under, not getting hassled, not getting hustled. Keeping your head above water, making a way when you can. Temporary layoffs, good times, easy credit ripples, hustling and surviving, good times, hanging in a child line, good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Good times. You guys go fuck yourselves. There was an episode where Michael said, I don't believe in God, because Carl, the shopkeeper that he worked for, he didn't believe in God. Go back and watch that episode. They never once said the word atheism. They didn't. And so I guess where I'm going with all of this is, if I would have said back then that, I was an atheist, and even if my parents even knew what that meant, those are white people. If you don't get your black ass in there, get on that brown suit with the black clip-on tie, and get your ass on the joy bus and carry your black ass to church. It wasn't even an option, right? I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. Those are white people. You've been hanging out with your white friends too much. This is what happens when we move off of post, right? It wasn't even an option. And I think about how we used to joke when we were kids. And I'm sure some of y'all have the exact same experience, no matter where you're from, no matter your skin color. Be in junior high and fuck around and even joke about not believing in God. What would everyone do? They would back away from you. Why were they backing away from you? Because the proverbial lightning bolt was going to come down and God was going to murder you on the spot. Right? So again, that whole thing was it just was not an option. Now, when I think about black folks and atheism, I remember when people found out at work that I didn't believe in God, and again, I bullshit you not, on more than one occasion, you know what I got? When they saw the tattoo or they heard the rumors that I didn't believe in God, more than one person went, but you're black. And my response was, who told you this? All this time, I thought I was doing a kick-ass job of this is sitting on. Look, between you and I, don't tell any. I literally got but you're black. And again, I put that in there, but it's that laundry list of stereotypes that if you don't match that, then somehow, some way, you're the whitest black person I've ever met. You're only black on the outside, right? Again, to this day, 52 years old, I've never had a 40 ounce. That doesn't interest me 1 ounce. And when people, I'm blacker than you. Is that your fucking standard? You bigoted son of a bitch. I told y'all when I talked about this last, the guy that used to own the place where I work, his family wasn't poor, but I'm sweating. His little fucked up ass brother, half brother, whatever the fuck it may have been. That guy was a little piece of shit. But again, back then I was the new guy. And I was literally like the first time, like, oh, have you guys ever seen a Negro up close? Oh, this is so cool. And so, they hit me with the bullshit. And I remember his little monkey ass, I still remember he asked me, because maybe he just found out, or I don't even care. But he was like, Robert, do you know the difference between hip hop and rap? I was like, I actually don't think there is one. And he's like, but there is. I was like, there is? I don't think so. And he tried to argue me down. I was like, hold on there, Junior Flip. I really don't give a fuck, just so you know. He's like, what, you don't know the difference? I know I'm blacker than you. You're 16 years old and you have a brand new Mercedes. Your family's richer than a motherfucker. You couldn't be whiter if Elmer's glue fucked flour and jizzed mayonnaise. Right? And he's like, I know the difference between hip hop and rap. I'm blacker than you. That's good to know, asshole. Yes, I'm drinking coffee. I'm tired. But I put going to church in that same category. And I did go to those kind of churches. But if I would have not, if I just kind of would have gone to the ominous, dominus, kind of church, and because I still went, oh, who was it that? Oh, that was attached to Bev Kearney. Now I remember. Long story, but Bev Kearney's black. Bev Kearney didn't die, but yeah, you guys look it up. But people went to that service. Bev Kearney was a coach at UT. There was like this horrible car accident. The lady in Bev's passenger seat was killed. It was horrible. The lady was black. Well, she went to a black church, so the service was black. Now, if you've never been to a funeral for black people, with black people, by black people, it's a little bit different. I've been to both. It's a little bit different. And I remember people coming back. I did not go, mainly because I didn't know the lady nor Bev, but people came back in this, oh my God, oh, it was so lively, and a homecoming, and telling us don't be sad, and they're praising is like, yeah, welcome to the black church, motherfucker. But it just, to me, just feeds into that stereotype, even though that was my upbringing. But again, long story short, I put that playing basketball, being a good dancer, being a phenomenal singer, knowing the difference between hip hop and rap, liking fried chicken, which still I will not eat in front of white people. I absolutely refuse. Eating watermelon. What did I always say? Drinking 40 ounces. Just think about all the things that are stereotypical that will get you called, oh, you speak so well. You're not really black. I put going to those kind of churches and being religious in the same category of things that make you stereotypically black. Now, gang, let's go ahead and hit it with the Autobots. Transform and roll out. What do you see? This bullshit. Oh, black screen because I'm a fuckface. So again, it's called Black Public Media. And again, there's a series of them. Again, I told you, one of them is Black Folks Don't Do, blah, blah, blah. In this case, it was mental health. This one is Black Folks Don't Do Atheism. Now, let's hit it with the blow up. Wait with the hip. That's just, there. Now you guys can see something other than nothing. I watched this like 12 years ago. And so it's been a while. So we're going to have a little bit of a refresher. Now, to each their own, gang, to each their own. But especially now, being an atheist, a black atheist, and an outspoken one, gang, I look at some shit like this and all I see is slave-like mentality. I do. And yes, I acknowledge there were some parts of Africa where Christianity, it's alcohol time, where Christianity infiltrated parts of the continent of Africa. I'm not going to sit here and say the lie that, no black person had ever heard of Jesus Christ. I don't think that's true if I remember my history correctly. And if I'm fucking that up, as always, let me know in the goddamn comments. But either way, it just comes to a certain point in time where the answer is yes. Holding on to this for black folks, I truly believe these are internalized chains that we are wearing. For the most part, this is the religion of your enslaver, black folks. Buddy, that's us, homeboy. And so, and especially when it's the fever pitch, it's the digging your heels in. There's no way I would have made it this far without Jesus Christ. I'm like, really? Because the exact same Jesus was used to keep you enslaved. But again, hey, to each your own. Fuck it. I think it's on some bullshit. Black folks, I truly believe we would be better off if we just said to hell with this foolishness. Alright, I got a long day. I'm drinking ahead. So I'm just going to have a splash of tonic to make me feel good about myself. So I need to self-esteem boost right now. Tomorrow's going to suck. All right, coming back. This is an unusually long intro, gang. Okay. I'm back. This ought to be fun. Let's see how much of this I remember. You guys ready? Let's roll the tape. I remember the music.
That's just a saying. That question got me a little nervous. That's probably true. That's a strong statement. We shouldn't be accustomed to tradition. Step out.
Pause the tape. Can you guys hear this? It's a little bit low. It's a little bit low on my end, so I hope you guys can hear it. So I just think I barely heard him say we should not be stuck on tradition. I already like this guy, even though I don't remember. Roll the tape.
Step out of the boundary, Try to do a little bit of everything,
Black folk don't do atheism. It's not absolutely true, but it's about as close to absolutely true as something could be.
Yeah.
These kind of stereotypes.
I'm just gonna have to say,
yeah. Pause the tape. What did I just say? I haven't seen this in over a decade, and it's part of those stereotypes: dancing, playing basketball, rapping, just all the bullshit. And rewind that. She's absolutely right. Watch this.
Absolutely true, but it's about as close to absolutely.
Again, pause the tape. She's right. It's about as close to absolutely true as you can possibly get. Again, I literally told people to their face, I am an atheist. And their first response is, but you're black. Like I said, you know what? I actually don't like rap music 1 ounce, but you're black. I actually don't like soul food. I don't like fried chicken, but you're black. Same thing. I have no religion. None at all. I am an atheist, but you're black. It's a stereotype. Roll the tape.
Absolutely true as something could be, these kind of stereotypes.
I'm just gonna have to say most Black folk don't do atheism, and if they do, they're not, wearing T-shirts about it.
No,
pause the tape. Come on, these are my people. She's right. She's right. And I think I remember what this lady's gonna say. But yeah. Because it's one thing to take that kind of criticism from white people. Like, again, it were white people that said, but you're black. It's the pressure that you feel from your own society, right? She's absolutely right. I mean, my monkey ass will wear a T-shirt. I don't give a fuck. But the lady with the short hair, watch this. I remember her. Roll the tape.
They do.
Okay, pause the tape. Not for nothing. Holy shit. This lady right here is beautiful. Roll the tape.
Not wearing T-shirts about it.
No, we don't do atheism. We know there's a God. We believe in him and praise Jesus Christ.
Pause the tape. Gang, she sounds like every woman that I would call either a mama-like figure or an auntie kind of figure down here in the South. Right? It's just this definitive tone of voice. That's right. Black folks don't do atheism. We know there's a God. We know he's good. Jesus has blessed us every day. Go put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm telling you, if she is not an old Southern black woman, I don't know who is. Roll the tape.
We believe Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Yes.
Most black people I know personally, they are Christians, Catholics.
Regardless of what diaspora we're talking about, whether it's the island.
There was no reason for me to pause it. I just want to look at her face. I really think this woman is like the very definition of just beauty. I could watch her read the goddamn yellow pages. This woman is fucking beautiful, like stunning. God damn. Maybe I need to start believing in God again. Holy shit, I forgot she was on this tape. Just a little bit longer. Fuck. Okay, roll the tape.
The South, the North. It's one of the great links, I think, in Black folk is that it's the belief in God.
Most of the people that I know that's the same color like me believe in God.
I think there's this inbred, instilled fear of God, among most black people. That even if you think you're an atheist, you probably are not. Because somebody will
pause the tape. He's right, and now I remember because that is a very distinctive looking cemetery. That's New Orleans. That's New Orleans right there. But yeah, and he's absolutely right. Just like Jesus. Let's just call her Mrs. Reed. Just like what Mrs. Reed was saying. Yeah, even if you are an atheist who's black, you keep that shit to yourself. You're not putting it on a T-shirt. And like this cat, again, gang, if that is not every cat daddy in the South, I don't know who he is. The hat, the shirt. I mean, this is cat daddy fucking personified. If you don't know what a cat daddy is, ask your closest black person. But oh yeah, and he's right. Even if you think you are, you're not. Keep that shit to yourself. Keep your head down and just keep it moving. There's a lady at work. Again, we're not from New Orleans. My family's from New Roads. You know, like what the fuck's that? It's on the Texas side of Baton Rouge. It's about that big. But we got the Cajun thing in common. And yesterday, boy, she came with the Pope. Well, he is from Chicago, but apparently his grandparents are from Das Boot, Louisiana, right? And she's like, oh, it's so great. It's so great. Never once asking me, do you actually believe in a God? It was just automatically assumed. So I was like, yeah, I heard he's a Cubs fan, but they're saying he's a White Sox. This is straight sitting on some bullshit. It's a very strong, that everyone, not just black folks, but especially us, because again, like two people have already said, it just goes along with that stereotype, right? If you are black, you are especially believing in a God, more so than probably your white counterparts. Roll the tape.
Beat it out of you.
Have had too many moments from like,
hold on.
Yes, you probably are not. You because somebody will beat it out of you.
Pause the tape. These are definitely my people. Absolutely. Just like the whole mental health discussion. Do you guys hear what he said? Because if people find out, they're going to beat it out of you. Yeah, by today's standards, you want to call this abuse. But oh yeah, I was early teens when we started having discussions about ADD and everything else like that. And my parents' generation was like, wait, what? Attention deficit, what the fuck is that? Well, I tell you what, if you beat that motherfucker enough, he'll start paying attention. He'll have lots of attention. That was kind of the mindset back then. Maybe not so much now. So, you know, cat daddy number one, absolutely, right? For us, nothing like a good old fashioned beating, right? Tan your motherfucking hide. That will change your direction in a heartbeat. He kind of did the giggling about it, but there's nothing funny about it because that's actually the mindset down here in the South and especially Louisiana and East Texas, right? If you need your kid to change direction, nothing like a good stiff beating. I didn't say right or wrong, fuck faces. I'm saying that's the mindset. And again, fuck around and let your family find out that you don't believe as they do. Yeah, I can absolutely see a kid being beaten until they change their mind. Roll the tape.
I have had too many moments where I'm like, I'm certain that there is something. Is it sort of some white guy with a beard who sits on a cloud saying, you win, you lose, you know, sort of orchestrating like the giant conductor? No, I don't believe in that. But there must be some God force.
Okay, pause the tape, which is well within his rights. Two of these people look incredibly familiar, and my brain is just blanking on them. The very first lady with the long braids and this cat. But to me, that's just, I guess, argument from ignorance. But to use Uncle Bobby language, just say you don't know, which is kind of what he's saying. But he's like, there must be. And I'm like, why must there be? To me, it's just, look, if we don't understand something, just admit that we don't know. Instead of saying there just has to be some high. And I remember talking to someone at work who is smart, a legit PhD, teaches in college. Her students call her doctor. And we were having this discussion, and I was kind of giving her the whole Braxton Hunter bullshit about the boulder, you know, slamming into the side of the mountain in perfect English after the dust settles, you know, God is real. And she was basically saying the same thing. Well, it must be a higher power. And I was like, why must it be? Well, how else do you explain it? I don't know. Maybe it's an illusion. Maybe someone's pulling a prank on you. I just belch. # unprofessional. So, I mean, I like his approach, but at the same time, I don't hold it. Right? Again, there just has to be, to me, this is someone who's just holding on to those last little bits because again, atheists or what is it? Agnostics or atheists that just don't want to get yelled at. And like Cat Daddy #1 said, again, kind of only half joking, right? A good beating will straighten that attitude out. You'll be a believer in God again. Roll the tape.
That's bigger than all of us.
My family, my extended family, to me, to them, the fact that I don't go to church every Sunday to them feels probably like atheism. Like they don't, it's just not a concept that you would have your own belief system.
Yeah, pause the tape. God damn. Note to self, move back home. Holy shit, is this what I'm missing out on? Did they just pick every beautiful ass black woman in New Orleans to interview? I think that answer is yes. But to her point, she's right. When I stopped going to church every on Christmas with my aunt, nothing was ever said, but there was definitely a he's not going. He's like, hell no, I'm not going. Right? One, that shit's at midnight. I don't stay up that late, right? That's sitting on some bullshit. You know how much coffee it would take for me to see midnight? But oh yeah. But to sit there, and again, I don't advertise it. I don't beat it over anyone's head. But if someone were to ask, I'm also not going to lie. But I can only imagine the looks I would get if I just straight up said, I am an atheist. What's that, Chris? I don't believe in a God. Not yours, not the one that I used to believe in, not anyone's. I just don't buy into it. And I can only imagine the looks that I would get, right? And again, like this beautiful motherfuckers up here talking about, it's just foreign concepts. Like, wait, you've got your own set of morals and beliefs and shit like that? Yeah, again, it's just a very strange concept in my community. Roll the tape.
Would not just subscribe and just fall in.
I sometimes feel like the Black community has a tendency to be a bit more closed-minded, especially when it comes to religion. I think a big part of that is that, that's something that kind of held us together when times were hard.
It's just,
God damn. Oh, yeah, she's just beautiful for no fucking reason at all. But watch this. Roll the tape.
That's something that kind of held us together when times were hard.
Pause the tape. She's right. This child is absolutely right. Now, for the most part, we adopted our slavers' religion, right? And church was, let's say, an hour a week where we were allowed to unify. And if you guys don't know this history behind Negro spirituals, it's how we spoke in code. It was. Now you sit there and you listen to gospel music. Gospel came second. Spirituals came first, right? Negro spirituals morphed into what we now know as gospel music. But if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that's how we used to communicate, it's how we would sit there. You just can't sit there while you're picking cotton or some shit like that. It's like, hey, we're jumping the fence at 12 midnight. We're getting this is sitting on some bullshit. Mazza and the mistress, this is no way to live. So we're gonna go through the south fence, and then we're just gonna haul ass. We're gonna try to make to North Carolina first. Then we're gonna try to get to Ohio as fast as we can. We got to get up north because living in the south there's some bullshit. If you just sat there and said that, well, guess what? You're gonna get caught. So we were allowed to have religion as long as it was theirs, our enslavers. But we used spirituals, the songs that we would sing, but there were codes hidden in those songs. So if we were going to escape, if we were going to bum rush the main house, that code was in, and you could sit there and sing it in front of the slave driver. And the slave driver would have no fucking clue. So again, it is what solidified us. It is what unified us. It is what freed us when we would talk in code and shit like that. And so it just stuck. And that's why I truly believe, especially down here in the South, why it still got such a stronghold on us. It was used to keep us in captivity, but it was also our means of escape. Roll it. Okay, just hold on. Hold on.
It's just not.
Oh, God damn. Oh, I got to get back home. Holy shit.
About
God and believing in God. Church for the Black community is a political place for action. Civil rights movement was all in churches. That was the safe.
Oh God. Oh, fuck. What was I saying? I think I said I'm a Christian now. But she's right. Mrs. Reed is absolutely right. It's where, again, especially in the days of slavery. You guys got to understand, and this is why people like me, I don't watch The Help, Django Unchained, and all that bullshit. When you get on Twitter, and yeah, it's horrible to watch. And yes, those kids are wrong. But when you see like 10 black kids jumping a single white kid, yeah, that shit is wrong. But when the caption is, oh, this is just, the liberal narrative. Imagine if the situations were reversed. Well, as it turns out, some of us don't have to imagine that. Some of us don't have to imagine. That's real life for some of us. And slavery isn't, again, gang, please go fuck yourselves. I think I've told y'all, I'm Generation X, black person. Generation X black people are literally, go look it up. We are the first group of black people born in this country with full civil rights. My oldest cousin, Tina, she's not Generation X. You understand that? I was born with rights that my own first cousin wasn't born with. I was allowed to drink out of water fountains that Tina was not. So again, to put it back to where Mrs. Reed was talking, the church was our safe place. It's where you go, where you went to look at people that looked just like you, to unify. And that was just back in the slavery days. And then, yeah, you saw, Dr. Martin Luther King, right? That's where you went to strategize, not just to praise God, but what are we going to do next? It's 1959 and no one deserves to live like this. God damn, she's beautiful. I'm gonna start licking my screen. Roll the tape.
Meeting ground.
They know there's a spiritual being that watches over us and has helped us.
Pause the tape. So let's just call her Mama. I'm not going to talk shit. And I almost apologize for this not being my normal explosive, go fuck yourself kind of episode. I can't do that. But Mama, the problem with that mindset is, he helps us win. And I'm only going to say but this is not an uncommon story. Where was Jesus? Where was God when the Ku Klux Klan beat my grandfather to death for the oh so heinous crime of cutting lynched black people down and giving them proper burials? He guides us, he leads us, he helps us. Where? When? The story that I just learned about my grandmother, Big Mama, I can't repeat it because Dad can't talk about it without crying. 52 years I've been on this fucking planet, and I can count the number still to this day. On one hand, the number of times I've seen my dad even come close to crying. He's told me so much. And I'm just sitting and I'm thinking, man, okay, again, other than, we have free will. And Mama, again, he guides us. Just listen to what Mama said. Listen to that.
Watches over us.
Pause and take. Where? When? Mama? Was he watching over us when we were on the transatlantic trip over here? They put insurance on us because we were property, Mama. When they were raping the women and throwing them overboard and letting them drown. Some of them chose to drown. Some of them threw their own babies overboard because some of them were pregnant when they got put on the boat. And when they realized what kind of life their baby would have, they throw the motherfucker over because death was better than the life they were getting ready to lead. And so when I hear that is such, and again, I'm not going to talk shit about this Mama, but that is such an old fucking mindset. And to say it with a smile. Now I'm talking big shit because I'm over here in Texas right now. If I was back in Louisiana and I was face to face with her, you know what I'd be doing? I'm not fucking stupid. I may be big and strong, but she's a motherfucking mama. I'm not going to disrespect her like that. But he guides us. He helps us win. Win. Momo, we live in 2025, and I hope you're still alive to see this. But we got a president. He just fired the Secretary of the Library of Congress. And when they asked a 26-year-old white girl is sitting there talking, it's like, well, you know, the nigger was spreading DEI and showing kids how to jerk off and telling them that they're trans and giving library books to kids and teaching them it's okay to suck a dick. We're living in a time where black people are just getting ramrodded. Well, everybody is. And so when you sit there, well, Jesus helps us and win. Again, I'm not going to talk shit about Amal, but God damn, that's such an old mindset. Let's listen to her again. Roll the tape.
As a spiritual being that watches over us and has helped us from the beginning of time, from slavery, civil rights.
Pause the tape. I hope she does not say it. Again, it's been over a decade since I've last seen this. I definitely need a refill. But he looked over us during slavery. Mama, that is such a captive's mindset. I don't know how else to put it. Because I've heard this argument before, and that is, I just belch, hashtag I'm professional. Let's get a refill. Boy, this part is hard. That God had a plan, and that God orchestrated American slavery to bring black people out of Africa, bring them to the Americas, to expose them to the gospel message of Jesus Christ. That is an actual mindset, gang. I don't have to tell y'all that that is just sitting on some bullshit. I mean, as a black, how do you say that to your kids? Huh? And again, I'm talking big shit now because I'm a whole state away from a wall there on my screen. I can't believe I'm actually saying this out loud, but that is an actual mindset, man, that God orchestrated American chattel slavery because he knew in advance that if those heathen niggers in Africa stayed in Africa, that they would not get the revelation. So he orchestrated the means. And now we're saved. Isn't that wonderful? And that is such a captive mindset. Like, oh, fuck off. Okay, hold on. Coming back. Whew. I did not think this episode would be this fucking difficult. Ugh. Okay. Roll the tape.
We survived so much hardship that we know on our own we couldn't have done.
Pause the tape. That right. Oh, goddamn. I'm just getting ready to say that. That's the problem, Mamo. That's the problem. She's right. We did survive. We're still surviving. That's my problem with this whole DEI bullshit. Right? Again, the mindset is literally, you know what's wrong with America? We've given these shiftless, lazy Negroes too much. It's time for them to start working hard for what it is they really. But here's the thing. You're right. We have survived. We've worked twice as hard to get half the fucking result. And look how good we are. And you know who we get to credit that to? Us. I leaned on your shoulders, Momo. The black kids younger than me. They lean on me. It just keeps on going. We are here because we are strong enough to motherfucking survive. Right? It wasn't a God. It wasn't a Jesus. It was us. It was our beautiful white brothers and sisters. The ones who said, you know what? Fuck the bullshit. And I'm going to try to say this one without getting emotional, but it was during the whole Black Lives Matter and George Floyd crap. And I remember talking about this with my mom, and I could not get through it. So let's give it a shot. I don't know what the whole context was, but there was a police line, and let's go over here. There was a police line advancing. There were black people, but everyone else skedaddled, and right there was one black dude, and he refused to move. The cops were not stopping. And gang, I bullshit you not. And here it comes. They did stop, or they at least slowed down. You want to know why? A young white girl. Gang, is something I've been saying since my Lenovo days. No movement gains traction until its antithesis joins in. That little white girl stood in front of the black dude. I tell you what, that was one of the greatest things. I don't know why that always gets me, man. That always gets me. They stopped. There was no Jesus to be found. That little girl, that little white girl, took it upon herself to stop the cops from advancing. So you don't thank God, you go thank that little girl, you thank her fucking parents, right? They raised a good kid. Gang, I have no, why that kicks my ass so much, I have no idea. But well, I mean, I can bench press hundreds of pounds and I'm still not as strong as that little girl. Let's go on over here and roll the tape.
That idea of atheist, that there's nothing, that there is no divine that can help give meaning to the experiences of inequality.
Pause the tape. Yeah, that's wrong. Again, atheism only speaks, Jesus H. Christ. Atheism only speaks to one thing. Do you believe in a God? Everything else is everything else. Right? Rewind that. God, gang, every time. That story kicks my ass every time.
Done it.
That idea of atheist, that there's nothing, that there is.
Pause the tape. This is what, you're fucking beautiful too. This is what happens, gang. When the atheist narrative gets spun for atheists, right? This is why I quote noted historian and philosopher Matt Dillahunty. If it is safe for you to kind of quote unquote come out and be honest about your non-belief, then do so. So people can tell, oh, atheism, they're just like us. But this is what happens when non-atheists get to spin the atheist narrative, right? All atheism does is answer one question about me. Everything else is everything else. Roll the tape, shit.
There is no divine that can help give meaning.
Pause the tape. To help, I don't need help. I don't need help, right? I give my life meaning, and you're right. You don't have to agree. And if we disagree that much, I'm just going to cut you out of my life. No problem. Done, right? But again, that is not the atheist narrative. That's not the definition of atheism. Roll the tape. Shit.
Into the experiences of inequality and oppression does seem to be constitutive of something that is not blackness.
Given that, it's just hard to say, well, where would a black person find space to be atheist?
I study African American religion and culture.
Pause the tape. Where would a black person find the space to be, I don't know, maybe the same space to be a Christian? Fuck if I know. I don't know what do you say to that? Roll the, okay, this motherfucker smart. Roll the tape.
And I can tell you there's a long history of African American atheists and agnostics, including people like Frederick Douglass.
Yep.
And others, people who question.
Pause the tape. So Frederick Douglass was the one who said, because he was born into slavery, You know, I prayed for freedom and God never answered my questions. My prayers didn't start working until I started praying with my feet. Right? And that's what I'm saying. It's just like you give your own life whatever meaning you want to give it. Right? Well, again, we wouldn't have survived without God. No. Frederick Douglass died out of slavery, not because God, because he had motherfucking feet and a spine. And he said, fuck this shit, I'm running. Right? And again, and this Langston Hughes, I mean, there's a ton of them. The thing is, it's just not, it doesn't fit that stereotype. Again, you don't dance, you don't rap, you don't sing, you don't like basketball, you don't like fried chicken, you don't drink 40 ounces, you don't know the difference between hip hop and rap, you speak too well. What, you got a college degree, you got good credit, what kind of bullshit is that? It's not a part of the stereotype. Roll the tape.
Whether or not there was a God, precisely because of African American suffering. How can there be a God, right? A God who is supposed to be good.
Okay, pause the tape. And this is why I am glad I'm not doing a fuckface Frank Turk video right now. Because what would Turk say? This is what I'm saying. It's not funny, right? Again, it's like to sit there, and again, the debate on rape should be 1 second long. What do you think about rape? It sucks. Next. Again, if it takes you 30 minutes to debate the topic of rape, you're either talking to a rapist, a Christian apologist, or they're one and the same. It's very logical to ask the question, like Mamal was talking about, God helps us, he supports us, and he helps us survive. Really? Really? Right? And again, if we're talking about just Louisiana, I told you guys, again, it took my mother dying to learn all this shit about my family. I grew up, I knew exactly the story of Tebow Plantation. The only reason why my mom and my aunts and uncles weren't called slaves is because legally they didn't hold the designation, but by definition they were. Right? And I knew about it, I knew about it, I knew about it, I knew about it. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I finally saw Tebow Plantation. It's next door to the church I grew up in, where my grandparents and my aunt are buried. Across the street, when I say street, I mean partial gravel, partial dirt. If I were to lay down, if two of me's were to lay down, that may be the width of that goddamn street. I'm not joking. Fuck off. And so my point is, I grew up across the street. My aunt was like, you don't remember you, Zane, Drew, all you guys used to play on those lines. Like, I remember that like it was yesterday. You find a cardboard box, you cut it in half, and you'd either roll down the levee or someone push you like it was a sled. I didn't know that was Tebow Plantation. They had to address the Tebows with utmost respect, even though they treated them like shit. And so it's very logical to ask, hey, what's up? Right? Again, it's just sitting in it. God is all loving, he's all powerful, but all this bullshit happens. It's very logical to ask. And so again, without fuckface Frank Turk, right? It's just like, if there is no God, what is your objective? What is wrong with owning niggers and working them like rented mules? If you don't shut the fuck up, I'm going to slap you. Roll the tape.
A God who is supposed to be just when white supremacy sort of dominates the planet. Black people suffer this injustice, this physical violence, but also this violence that comes through discourses of Black inferiority, et cetera, that are centuries old.
I'm really interested in Black secularists. So Anthony Penn is a brilliant writer around what he calls the diversity of Black religious thought.
But Anthony Penn, William Jones, and others argue that humanism is itself a religious orientation. African Americans are religious in a variety of ways, in complex ways, that does not always include belief in God.
The weird thing is that the one or two people that I know who are Black atheists, they're not open to talking about it openly.
He's right.
That it's kind of like their dirty little secret. And so they'll kind of couch it in, agnosticism or something like that.
I wouldn't call myself an atheist necessarily because I think it takes too much effort to be an atheist. Let's just say I'm an uncommitted non-believer.
Yeah, pause the tape. So yeah, like I said, atheists or agnostics that don't want to get yelled at. That's all I heard just then, right? Just roll the tape.
I don't know. I'm atheist, personally.
Why are you atheist?
I think the theory of religion is like complete bullshit, honestly.
Even though I will attend religious rituals, I'm culturally a Catholic because I'm from New Orleans. Everybody here is a Catholic.
Yep.
I'm in front of a lot of Catholics right here who just happen to go a little sooner than me. But whether they're in a better place or I'm in a better place, who's to
Again,
say?
positive. There's a lot of familial and societal pressure, especially in the Black community. I'm speaking for my own people to sound just like that. Just keep your head down, shut the fuck up, say the amens, pass the peas, right? It's easier. Now, again, this is only like 10, 12 years old, which isn't really all that long ago. And let me tell you something. I get back about 2 or 3 times a year. That attitude has not changed. Roll the tape. Let's wrap this up.
Hey, I looked at church as like a way to scam people instead of like, oh, it's enlightenment or anything. I was just like, no, this is utterly bullshit. My parents are religious, and I'm not. They don't approve. They think I'm supposed to be. They think it's a phase, but honestly, I just don't.
Oh, I've gotten that. Roll the tape. I've gotten that. So here's 2 young people back to back. Right. Well, Robert, if you have a kid, you'll come back to Christ. This is just a phase. You're just mad at God. It's fun. I've never met these people. I wish I would have met that beautiful ass woman from the holy shit, I'd marry her tonight. But the script hasn't changed. The responses haven't changed. So here's someone else showing up to be my kid. Let's see what she has to say.
Something about being Baptist and kind of being exposed to different things, in your college life that it just didn't really fit.
Yep, pause the tape. I've always said the best thing about coming to Texas was that. It was learning about a whole side of the world and life that I had no exposure to as a kid growing up, right? And the one thing I've always told people, the best thing about coming to UT was there is no one group that holds the patent on asshole. I just belch, hashtag I'm professional. They're white assholes, black assholes, Asian assholes, Mexican assholes, rich assholes, middle-class assholes, assholes that believe in God, assholes that don't believe. No one group holds the patent on asshole. That's the one thing I'd always say, what I took from my 5 years there. Roll the tape.
And it's funny because the people that I know that are struggling with their religion, when they were little, they were like super Catholics.
Some of them may be homosexual and they feel like.
Again, pause it. So here's the funny part. So we got 3 kids back to back to back. I'm looking at this child, young lady, and the dude with the backpack. Gang, if I'm just going to put my finger on it, he's gay. So my wife, the lady with the braids, the mama, the cat daddy, listen to the switch in the tone, right? These younger cats have a different view on the world. Whereas mama and my wife, the lady with the braids, Teray, isn't that the older brothers and sisters, they got a different mindset. These younger cats are looking at it from a different lens. Times are changing. Roll the tape.
Like, I can't attend a church that doesn't accept me for me, and God says accept all people.
I think there's a huge connection.
Gang, I'm thinking a nice fall wedding. Or maybe a winter wedding, because we're both a little bit on the chocolatey side. I think that'll kind of bring out our skin tone more. I'm willing even to take her last name. I don't even give a shit. Just, okay, roll the tape.
Connected between God and community and being together and as a people. And for one to say that I don't believe in God almost disconnects you from the culture, as if you.
Ooh, pause the tape. That right there. She's right. Mrs. Reed is right. Right? Breaking away from that almost breaks you away from your culture. It's such a foundational pillar of who it is we're supposed to be that when you disconnect from that, then it's like, well, what the fuck? How do I talk to you? Right? Again, it's like the little girl with the black hat there. Right? What about the people that are gay? Right? Well, you suck dick. I mean, how do I communicate with you? You mean just like you did yesterday before you found out I was gay? Right? Well, how do I talk to you? You don't even believe in God. Well, you're kind of talking to me now. And 5 minutes ago, before you realized I was an atheist, you talked to me normally. So why don't we just continue on with that? She's right. And she is so beautiful. Roll the tape.
Lose your card as being part of the culture. And I think that's something that's very scary for many people.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad they ended it on. Let's just
if you lose your
let's go back over here. Pause the tape, end the tape. I'm thinking about the wedding program. What are you guys thinking? And what if I kind of turn in the same direction as you? Right? Do you guys want the vegetarian option, the meat option? Fuck the vegetarian shit. This is clearly going to happen in Louisiana. It's going to be a crawfish boil. It's going to happen in July. So, dress light. May I suggest linen? Because it looks nice, it's fashionable, but it's also very breathable because New Orleans is humid than a motherfucker. We are not going to get rid of her, but we're just going to sit right here. That's a great way to pause the tape in the tape. It is. And gang, it's so ingrained in our culture that, again, it's like, how do I talk to you? How do I relate to you if you don't believe in the same God I do? And again, just like you did 5 minutes ago before you found out that I didn't believe in God. Gang, Uncle Bobby and his new wife, we only gave you one big motherfucking problem. So as a result, we are going to give you one big motherfucking solution. Black folks don't do atheism. Shut the fuck up, because clearly that's not true. Again, it's right up there with, again, playing basketball, dancing, talking a certain way, having a bad credit rating. Just all the things that are stereotypical, drinking 40 ounces, watermelon, fried chicken, all that shit. And so I put this in the same category. I do. Black folks come in varieties of shapes, dialects, educational backgrounds, cultural backgrounds. The only thing that we all have in common is that we're motherfucking black. Now, that being said, Black atheism is on the rise. And I love it how they did it to where they showed like Momo and her generation and then the young bloods in this generation. I told y'all, the internet will one day kill religion. You can't, and again, white, black, green, or otherwise, you can't lie to today's kids the way that you lied to me and my wife's generation. That shit just doesn't work. Again, fuck around and keep telling black kids that a virgin got pregnant. They're going to sit there and they're going to ask Siri and they're going to say you're a fucking liar, right? It is a part of our stereotype package that we need to break away from. Again, if there's any black people out there listening to this, you're going to be okay when you drop your motherfucking religion. And before I leave, I just want to say one more time, to all my white brothers and sisters out there that stand by our side, no matter the fuck what, thank you. We need you. All right, gang. We have held you long enough. We're signing the fuck off. Gin and Truth. Let's go. Don't worry, there's going to be a full bar. Me and Mrs. Reed invite you to our wedding. You're going to fucking love it.